This is also continuation of the definition of business, what business is. Today we will also continue the same topic, what is business. So if we recap the previous discussion, that means the contents of the last lecture, we have discussed about the definition of business. Business means a venture to generate profits. And business is sustainable business in today's world. And sustainable business means business that meets three criteria. Three criteria includes 3P: profit, planet, is it, and people. 3P, also known as society, economic, and environmental pillars. And business is also, business may be local business or international business. And business may be of different types. Say for example, we have discussed about the classification of business from the owner's spec. The classification includes number 1, sole proprietorship, number 2, partnership, number 3, company or corporate type of business. Under company or corporate type of business, there may have OPC, one person company owned by one man. Maybe private limited company. Private limited company means the company that is owned by 2 to 50 people, minimum 2 and maximum 50 people. And under corporate type of business, the third one is public limited company, and usually known as PLC. Sonali Bank PLC, Rupali Bank PLC, Stan Bank PLC. These words are very common to everybody. And this PLC means public limited company. And in public limited company, the number of owners are more than 7. More than 7, and there is no specific limit of maximum level. But it should not be infinity. It should not be infinity in that sense that in your paper, you have to limit the number of owners. That you can write any number of people, number of owners, or also known as shareholders. Minimum 7, maybe you can form a company with 1 million owners. So you have to write in the legal documents that the maximum number of owners for this company will be 1 million. These are the different types of business, and then we have discussed about the internationalization of business, how a business becomes an international business. Number 1 was exporting. Exporting means selling the goods outside of the home country, outside of the home country or outside of the national border. That is known as exporting. The opposite is importing, buying goods out of the border, out of home country. It may be licensing, providing the license to produce the goods outside of the border, licensing. This may be franchising, providing the license and also giving some conditions that you have to follow the conditions. That is franchising. Then we have also discussed about joint venture. 2 different nationals are forming a international business, joint venture. Joint venture may be FDI, foreign direct investment. Portfolio investment, investing in financial assets. There are two types of assets. One additional point I am adding here. Two types of asset. One is known as real asset. Another is known as financial asset. Real asset means land, building that has physical existence. That is known as real asset. And number two is financial asset. Financial asset means the assets that have no physical existence, but these assets are linked to physical existence. Say for an example, if you deposit money in the bank, this is financial asset because there is no physical existence of the money. Where is the money? You don't know. Similarly, ownership of a company can be transferred through stock exchanges. Maybe those who have born and brought up here in Dhaka city know about the stock exchanges, share bazaar. Stock exchanges, the assets are transferred, the ownership. Sonali Bank share, apni ekhon malik achen. If you are not interested to be the owner of the company anymore, then you can sell the ownership. How you can sell the ownership? You can go to the stock exchanges and you can sell the shares. Financial asset. Physical assets or real assets. Real assets also known as physical assets. Physical assets are linked with shareholder certificates, but you can transfer without any approval from the physical assets authority. It is known as financial asset. Very simple example, if you have money in the bank, FDR, fixed deposit, you can give the fixed deposit receipt to anybody else and he will be the owner of the asset through proper process. It is real asset, physical, financial asset. So one is real asset, another is financial asset. And portfolio investment, internationalization, we are talking about the internationalization of business. Portfolio investment. Portfolio investment means investing in the non-real asset or financial asset, shares, stocks, FDR, depositing money in the banks, etc. So, internationalization of business may be of different types. It may be wholly owned subsidiary. Wholly owned subsidiary means you are opening a new office in different country that is known as a host country out of the home country. That is known as a wholly owned subsidiary. You are the owner. So business, the definition of business is very big. Today, we'll try to another aspect of business from the modes of operations aspect. Business may be divided by modes of operations. There are three types of modes of operations. The three types of modes of operations are: number one, service operations. Number two, merchandising operations. Number three, manufacturing operations. So business, you need to understand the operations also to understand the business. Still, we are defining what is business. And after defining the business, we'll go to the management issues, how to manage a business. Textile companies in Bangladesh, do you think that they are doing business? Are they business organizations?
Yes.
all are business organizations, maybe owned by 1 people, maybe 2 people, maybe 200, 2 million people. So their business. Textile Engineering Management, Department of Textile Engineering Management is teaching you the engineering knowledge and also the managerial knowledge so that you can manage the business properly. And engineering ultimately production operations of a company. So we'll teach you how to produce the garments. At the same time, we are teaching you how to manage the business. And this is the first course on business management, and manufacturing course are also running in this similar, pace. So 3 types of business operations. Maybe after end of the course, you will understand that textile is a business. And there are some principles you can apply to manage the business. That's why the course title is Principles of Management. So, service operations. We are talking about the modes of business operations. There are 3 modes of business operations. One is service, another is manufacturing, another is merchandising operations. So, what is service operations? Service operations deals with intangible product. Service operations deals with intangible product. The business that do not produce any physical output. They produce product that is intangible in nature. That is known as service operations. Grameenphone. What Grameenphone is producing? What Grameenphone is giving to you, the consumers? Are you buying any tangible product from Grameenphone? You are buying services. That means they transfer your call to another person, your voice to another person. It is calling service. They are selling calling service. Intangible in nature, service operations. Data service, data. Data service, can you touch data? You are sending, I am delivering lecture. Is it service or manufacturing operations?
Service.
Service operations. Because the lecture I am delivering, you cannot touch it. You cannot touch my lecture. What you can do? Only you can recognize, you can understand. So it is service operations. So business may be service business. Say for example, in our country, if we refer it to textile companies, there are some wings. Say for example, buying house. Have you heard the word buying house? Buying house, okay, thanks. Buying house means that they do not produce anything. They do not sell anything. What they do, they receive orders, intangible in nature. They receive orders and sell the orders. And garments manufacturing companies manufacture the product and supply the product, physical output. But buying houses do not produce any goods, rather they just collect the orders and supply the orders to other people. Orders means instruction only. So their business operations is service operations, intangible in nature. And the second type of business operations is manufacturing operations. What is manufacturing operations? Manufacturing operations means The operations where conversion takes place, conversion. Say for an example, the table you are using today. This was not table. This was wood. Wood have been converted into table. Chair, the same thing. Wood is converted into chair. The shirt, the t-shirt I'm wearing today. This was not t-shirt. This was fiber. Fiber converted into fabric. Fabric converted into t-shirt. So it is manufacturing. Garments business in Bangladesh, manufacturing business. Because they buy, say for an example, fabric and they cut it, sew it, and then convert it into dress and they sell dress. It is known as manufacturing operations. In manufacturing operations, there must be conversion process, and the manufacturing business usually produces physical output or tangible output. In service operations, the output is intangible. In manufacturing operations, the output is tangible. So, manufacturing operations means producing tangible output with a conversion process. It is known as manufacturing operations. And the third type of operation is merchandising operation. Merchandising is a broad term. In your later cases, maybe there's some separate course on merchandising, but today's definition of merchandising is from the operations aspect, different from that merchandising course. আর আপনারা ভিডিও অন করে রাখবেন, এই কারণে যে আপনারা আসলে লেকচার শুনেন কি, it is important. এই সব ভিডিও অন করে রাখেন, whether you are under the tree, banyan shade, or you are at home, doesn't matter. We need to make it sure that you are with me and listening to me, right? So, Mr. Sajjad, are you taking your breakfast? Mr. Topo. So switch on your video is very important during the lecture. Otherwise, I'm recording lecture, you know, so attendance will not be problem for me. I can identify who is present here and who is not. I can identify whose video was on or off. So, plus performance, there is also a part of plus performance, whether you are attentive or not. Maybe you have got the distribution of marks system. Have you got it? In my classroom, I have given you what is the system of marks distribution, and the distribution system is totally different from the previous batches. So you must be very careful during the class, because only 20% or 27% marks are allotted for the in-course cement. That means I will give, I was assigned to give 27% mark for the previous batches, but from your batch, I will assign you around 40% through classroom assessment. So you must be very careful than your previous or predecessors. Okay. Because this, I'll review the issues. whether you were present while I will assign the grade. So what I'm talking, merchandising operations. We are talking about the three different types of business modes. Number one was service, number two was manufacturing, and number three is merchandising operations. In merchandising operations, the merchandiser buy finished good, sell finished good without bringing any changes to the product. In merchandising business operations, the businessman or businessmen buy finished goods and sell finished goods. They do not bring any changes to the output. Maybe it is service, maybe it is tangible product. Say for an example, this shirt. Although I didn't buy this shirt, it was from a factory. It was ultimately, testing. They're testing the product, whether the product quality is okay or not. But what about you? Your T-shirt? Have you bought the T-shirt from a shop? So
Yes.
you have bought the T-shirt from a shop, and this businessman does not manufacture the product. They just buy the product and sell the product without bringing any changes to it, to you, isn't it? This type of business is known as merchandising business. The businesses that do not manufacture any goods or services, rather they buy the finished goods and sell the finished goods without bringing any changes to the product features. Maybe you are thinking that they added some extra price. That is true. This is the system of generating profit for the company. So merchandising business means the business that does not add any value, or they do not bring any changes to the output. Buy the finished goods, sell the finished goods. আপনার আশেপাশে যত মুদি দোকান আছে সব কি বিজনেস করে? ম্যানুফ্যাকচারিং, সার্ভিস নাকি মার্চেন্ডাইজিং? Merchandising business. They're doing the merchandising business, right?
স্যার রেস্টুরেন্টেরটা কি হবে?
রেস্টুরেন্টে কি ম্যানুফ্যাকচারিং এর সাথে কি কোনো লিংক আছে? Is there a link with manufacturing? Okay, thanks.
স্যার তারাও তো কনভার্ট করে।
Right. So they're also manufacturer. They're also manufacturer, but they're also providing services, isn't it?
Yes.
Stop. Okay. So business operations in restaurant. Business operations in restaurant is mixed service operations and also manufacturing operations. They also convert one product into another product, raw materials into finished goods, vegetables into curry. So it is manufacturing. They are also providing services in that sense that after preparing the product, they also giving you the product for consumption, isn't it? So both the service and manufacturing operations are there. There is similarly in Textile operations, textile business, service operations and manufacturing operations are working together. Even, merchandising operations are also there. So one business may have manufacturing operations, may have service operations, may have merchandising operations. But usually you can classify that company by following its major operations. Restaurant is a service business provider following its major operations. Hotel service, usually restaurant is related to the hotel. Hotel is service providing. They are providing service. They are not converting anything. Thus, just they're receiving customers and they're providing room service, hotel business. And a restaurant, especially, they sell the foods. If they sell the manufactured foods, say for example, Coke, Fanta, they're not bringing any changes. Sometimes they bring changes. Say for example, when they produce, roll or some other different types of products. So in a business, there may have service operations, merchandising operations, manufacturing operations, but you will identify whether it is major job of the company. For a textile company, the major job is manufacturing. For a restaurant and hotel business, major job is, service operations. For daily shops, those who are living in Dhaka city, maybe, Agora, then Shopno, they're usually merchandising operations. They do not bring any changes. So we are discussing about the different types of business operations. 3 types of business operations. These business operations will be very much effective when you go to the advanced stages. Say for example, how the profit will be calculated. Then you have to separate your total operations, profit calculation. Maybe you are thinking that what is profit? Profit means sales minus cost. When you will subdivide the cost, then you have to identify whether it was manufacturing, merchandising, or service operations. So modes of operations is clear, I think. Now we are extending the definition of business to differentiate from sole proprietorship business to OPC, one-person company. You know that there are 2 types of business. One is sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship means that only one owner in the business. Only one owner in the business. It is not a sole proprietorship. And another type of company among the 3 major types, that means sole proprietorship, partnership, and corporate type of business, or corporation or company. Under company, there are 3 types of business. One is one-person company, OPC. Another is private limited company. And another is public limited company. So under corporate type of business, one-person company is there, and another classification of business is, sole proprietorship business. What is the difference between a sole proprietorship business and a one-person company? Let's come to the definition itself. Sole proprietorship business is owned by a single man And sole proprietorship business has no separate legal existence. Owner and business is same. And the owner of the business is known as proprietor. In a sole proprietorship business, the owner is known as proprietor. And there is no legal existence. Say for example, the profits that a company earns is the profit of the owner. Profit of the owner in that sense that the earnings coming from the business, sole proprietorship, is taxable under the owner's income. যদি আপনারা না বুঝে থাকেন যে একটা সোল প্রপ্রাইটরশিপ বিজনেসে যে আয় হবে আয় সেই আয় ট্যাক্সেবল, সেই ট্যাক্সটা কে দিবে? ট্যাক্সটা দিবে মালিক, ওনার, নট দি বিজনেস। কারণ বিজনেসের কোনো সেপারেট লিগাল আপনার এন্টিটি নেই। ওনার অ্যান্ড বিজনেস ইজ ট্রিটেড অ্যাজ সেম। ওনার অ্যান্ড বিজনেস ইজ ট্রিটেড অ্যাজ সেম। আপনার আশেপাশে যত দোকান আছে সব কিন্তু সোল প্রপ্রাইটরশিপ বিজনেস। But to do a sole proprietorship business, you need to have a trade license. You need to have a trade license. And this trade license will prove that what type of business you are doing. In the trade license, you have to write, is it a grocery shop? Or is it a textile accessories supplier? Or it is a spinning mill? Or it is garments mill? So, in the trade license, the purpose will be stated. And in case of OPC, one-person company, in case of OPC, owner and business is separate party. Owner is one party, business is another party. If we refer to the taxation system, the business will pay its tax separately. The owner will pay its taxes separately. And formation, only a trade license is not enough for a one-person company. For a one-person company, you have to apply for initially for the name of the company. What may be the name of the company? In sole proprietorship, you can choose any name. But in one-person company, you cannot choose any name. The name that exists in this world, you cannot take because there is a database with the registering authority. So you can start a business with the same name that is running by another people. You have to take the name clearance certificate first. Then you have to prepare two important documents. Number one document is Memorandum of Association. In short, this is known as MOA. You have to prepare Memorandum of Associations. And আপনাদের আমি স্লাইড দেখাতে পারতেছি না এই কারণে যে এইসবের স্লাইড বানানো হয়নি কখনো। So lecture is important. Listening and also watching the recorded video is important. So in one-person company, you have to prepare two important documents. Number one document is Memorandum of Association. In short, this is known as MOA, Memorandum of Association. In Memorandum of Association, you will write everything. How much money you are going to invest, what will be the nature of the business, etc., etc. You will write everything there in the memorandum of business. Especially, you have to write about the vision of the company, mission of the company, objectives of the company, etc. And you will also have to prepare one more document that is known as Articles of Association. Articles of Association, or in short, this is known as AOA. Articles of Association. Memorandum of Association is the short version of the business details, and Articles of Association is the long version of the business details. You will write in details. Say for an example, in Memorandum of Association, you have written that you are going to do a textile business. In Articles of Association, you have to explain everything. What type of textile business you are going to do? Is it a spinning mill? Is it fabric mill? Is it garments operations? Is it washing mill? Is it dyeing mill? So, in detailed version of Memorandum of Association is known as Articles of Association. So after preparing these two important documents, what you will do, you will submit these documents to the government authority. Government authority means Ministry of Commerce. You can check the details of the website roc.gov.bd. The details information of formation of a company is given, how to start a new business. roc.gov.bd. The detailed information is given there. So after today's lecture, you'll check that website. And you will prepare an assignment. How to prepare, how to start a business. So assignment title is how to start a business. You will write in details how to start a sorry. So your assignment, first assignment is how to start a business. Or we can concise it to textile sector, how to start a textile business. After today's lecture, the issue will be clear and you will write an assignment. How to start a textile business. This is your first assignment. So, after preparing Memorandum of Association and Articles of Association, you will submit it to the ROC, or it is a wing of Ministry of Commerce. You will apply to the Ministry of Commerce for certification. This is, the office is also known as RJSC. RJSC, R means register, Register of Joint Stock Companies and Firms. This is known as RJSC. Register of Joint Stock Companies and Firms. So if you go to the roc.gov.bd, you will get the detailed information. So after preparing these documents, you will apply for the registration to the ROC or Ministry of Commerce, and then the Ministry of Commerce will give you a certificate of incorporation. Certificate of incorporation means that the name you have chosen is registered as a company. After that, you can start the business with collecting a trade license. Trade license is important for all businesses. Trade license is important for all businesses. So there is a huge difference between sole proprietorship and also one-person company. So why you will take extra hassle? Why you are gonna take extra hassle to form a company over a sole proprietorship? There are some extra benefits. What are the benefits? Liability. Liability for a sole proprietorship business is liability to বুঝেন liability মানে আরেকজন আপনার কাছে যে টাকা পাবে সেটাকে liability বলে আপনার কাছে কেউ যদি টাকা পায় শুধু টাকা দিয়ে বুঝালাম সবকিছুর জন্যই টাকা আরেকজন আপনার কাছে যদি টাকা পায় this is known as liability. The claim of the outsiders on the business ইংলিশে বললে এভাবে বলতে হয় the claims of the outsiders other than the owners on the business assets is known as liability. একটা বিজনেস যদি শুরু করে বিজনেস লোন নেয় না ব্যাংক থেকে the business takes a huge amount of loan from the banks and many other financial institutions. এই যে আপনার ব্যাংক লোন নেয়ার পরে পরিশোধ করতে হয় না you must repay the bank loan. Sole proprietorship business এ যদি লোন নেয়ার পর যদি বিজনেস ফেল করে if the sole proprietorship business takes loans from the financial institutions and if the business fails after taking the loan the liability goes to the owner. এবার মালিক যদি ব্যবসা ফেল করে মালিকের সব টাকা পরিশোধ করতে হবে ব্যাংকের টাকা So liability for a sole proprietorship business is unlimited. If somehow the business fails, all the liability goes to owner. এখন ব্যাংক থেকে 100 কোটি টাকা লোন নিয়েছিল স্পিনিং মিল বানানোর জন্য ব্যাংক আপনার বিজনেস ফল করছে বিজনেস ফল করলে এখন যেটা হবে এই মালিকের পার্সোনাল অ্যাসেট বিক্রি করে ব্যাংকের লায়াবিলিটি পরিশোধ করতে হবে অথবা জেলে থাকতে হবে the business owner must settle the liability otherwise he will be reside there in the jail. But in case of one person company has its own legal existence because of its legal existence if the organization one person company takes any loan from the bank the owner is not liable to repay the loan even if the business dissolves যদি বিজনেস বন্ধ হয়ে যায় dissolves যদি বিজনেস বন্ধ হয়ে যায় the owner is not responsible to bear the unpaid loan ব্যাংকে যে লোন পরিশোধ করতে হবে এর জন্য মালিক দায়ী না মালিকের কোনো পার্সোনাল অ্যাসেট বিক্রি করে লোন পরিশোধ করতে হবে না মালিককে জেলেও যেতে হবে না because the loan is taken by a legal body one person company itself is a legal body one person company itself is a legal body so it is the main difference between sole proprietorship business and one person company the differences are coming from ownership coming from the liability and also from the taxation in case of 1% company tax pay করবে company tax, মালিক tax pay করবে মালিকের tax. Separate legal entity. Separate legal entity. Is it clear what is the difference between OPC and OPC means 1% company and sole proprietorship business? Is there any confusion? এই ডিফারেন্স গুলি আপনি অনলাইনে সার্চ দিলেই পাবেন, কাজেই you just take the notes and try to understand, and after that you will get everything there online. Difference between sole proprietorship and 1% company is clear? Then this second type of business is, what is the second one? Partnership. Isn't it? Partnership business. So what is the definition of partnership business? The definition of partnership business is that there must have two owners, and the maximum sling of the owners is 20. The owners must be in between 2 to 20. 2 to 20. So when you will form a partnership, you need two people, and the two people must agree to do the business. So agreement must be on sharing capital. How much capital who will provide? Who will provide how much capital? You two friends, are you share the profits 50-50 or 75-25 or 65-35? You have to write in a document that is known as the partnership deed. That is known as partnership deed. So you have to prepare a partnership deed, and then you have to collect a trade license. Then you can start the business. There is no other problem. As like sole proprietorship business, partnership business is very simple to start. So your assignment is how to start a business. So when you will write, you will explain all the different options. So partnership business and sole proprietorship business is almost same, and there is no separate legal existence as like sole proprietorship business. If the partnership business takes bank loan, and if the partnership business fail to settle the bank loan, the personal liability, the owner will be liable to settle the liabilities of the business in case of dissolution of business. So personal assets are attached to partnership business. In comparison with, private limited company, we are gonna comparing partnership business with private limited company. In case of private limited company, the owners are 2 to 50. 2 to 50, and the partnership business is run under Partnership Act 1932. There is a separate Partnership Business Act. Partnership Act 1932, and 2 to 20. This selling of the owners are stated there in the law. So under Partnership Act, you will run the partnership business. For sole proprietorship business, there is no separate law. And for a 1% company, for a private limited company, for a public limited company, there is a separate law, and the name of the law is Companies Act 1994. Companies Act 1994. Under Companies Act 1994, 1% company, one man, Private limited company, there must be 2 people and not be more than 50 people. And for a public limited company, minimum number of owners is 7 and there is no maximum ceiling. These are given there in the Companies Act 1994. So we are learning the difference between a partnership business and private limited company. Partnership business and private limited company. Partnership business is run under Partnership Act 1932 and private limited company is run under Companies Act 1994. Partnership business has no separate legal entity. Private limited company has separate legal entity. Maybe you have got the idea of what separate legal entity is. Separate legal entity is that the business is separate, the owners are separate. Asset of the business is business asset. Asset of the owner is business owner's asset. Tax, the owner will pay its own tax. In case of partnership business, the business has no tax payment system, tax payment option. Similarly, the other differences as like sole proprietorship and one-person company. In case of private limited company, you have to write the memorandum of association, articles of association. Then you will get a certificate of incorporation from the Register of Joint Stock Companies and Firms or Ministry of Commerce. And then you can start the business. There is the difference between a partnership business and a private limited company. Are you getting my points at this moment? Mr. Lincoln, are you getting the points?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Mehdi?
Yes, sir.
So any problem? Anybody is facing any problem? To get the points? Okay. Then we'll continue up to 12, is it? We'll just, we are differentiating different types of business, different forms of business. So, sole proprietorship and one-person company is clear. Partnership and private limited company is clear. Now, the third type of business is company. So, there is no other option to compare. Now, we'll compare between the private limited company and public limited company. We'll differentiate private limited company and public limited company. In case of private limited company, you have to prepare memorandum of associations, you have to prepare articles of associations. For a public limited company, same. You have to prepare memorandum of associations, you have to prepare articles of association. But where the differences are arising? The differences are there. The number of owners. In case of public limited company, the number of owners are 7, minimum number of owners, 7. And in case of private limited company, minimum is 2. And the other difference is that in public limited company, although there are no maximum ceiling of owners, but there are some people who will start the business and the business starts. The people who start the business is known as initiator. INITIATOR, initiators who start the business, takes the initiative is known as initiator. Or the other word is known as promoters, PROMOTERS, promoters. These promoters ultimately will take the decision what type of business they're going to start. Say, for example, 7 textile engineers have decided to start a new business, new textile business, maybe technical textiles. That is not available in our country at this moment, technical textiles. The textiles that is used to manufacture airplanes. Airplanes, body of the 70% of the airplane body is prepared or manufactured from textiles. This type of textiles are not producing in our country. These are high value added products. And Bangladeshi textile engineers are interested to start the technical textiles project. But the technical textile project requires a huge amount of investment. In case of private limited company, you the owners have sufficient money and you can start the private limited company. But in case of public limited company, you 7 textile engineers have very good idea. You 7 textiles engineers have very good idea, but you do not have sufficient capital to start the business. So you will explain it that we have very good idea, but we cannot start the business because we don't have sufficient money. You'll write a document and you will give projections. After first year, what will be your profit? After second year, what will be your profit? After third year, after fourth year, after fifth year. So you will prepare a projected document and details about the company and your profiles. And the document is known as prospectus. Ki naam bolen to? Prospectus, PROS, PEC, prospectus, prospectus. So first you will prepare the memorandum of associations, articles of associations. As like private limited company, you will apply for the certificate of incorporation. You will get the certificate of incorporation, but you cannot start the business. Private limited company ক্ষেত্রে কি হয় যে you can start the business after getting the certificate of incorporation, but for a public limited company you cannot start the business because you have not sufficient funds. You have to raise the fund from the general public. কারণে বলা হয় public limited company. আপনাকে ফান্ড কোথা থেকে নিতে হবে? সাধারণ জনগণের কাছ থেকে নিতে হবে, জেনারেল পাবলিকদের কাছ থেকে নিতে হবে. So to get the money from the general public, you have to explain to them that yes, we are capable to earn money, earn profit, but we cannot earn because of scarcity of capital. We do not have sufficient capital. So আমাদেরকে আপনারা টাকা দেন, আপনারা প্রফিট পাবেন, এই কোম্পানির মালিকানা দেব, শেয়ার দেব। আরেকটা ডিফারেন্স যেটা বলা হয়নি আপনার প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড কোম্পানি এবং পার্টনারশিপদের মধ্যে, পার্টনারদেরকে বলা, পার্টনারশিপ বিজনেসে মালিকদেরকে বলা হয় পার্টনার্স, আর প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড কোম্পানিতে মালিকদেরকে বলা হয় শেয়ার হোল্ডার্স। পার্টনারশিপ বিজনেসে মালিকদেরকে বলা হয় পার্টনার্স, আর প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড কোম্পানির মালিকদেরকে বলা হয় শেয়ার হোল্ডার্স অথবা স্টক হোল্ডার্স, STOCK, stock holders or shareholders, SHARE, shareholders. Shareholders and stockholders are same. So difference between public limited company and private limited company. After getting the certificate, as like the private limited company, you cannot start the business. You need to prepare additional documents. Additional document is prospectus. Prospectus এ কি থাকে? Prospectus থাকবে আপনাদের initiators অথবা প্রমোটার্সদের ডিটেইল, তাদের কেপেবিলিটি, তাদের এক্সপিরিয়েন্স, তাদের এক্সপোজার, এভরিথিং, এই 7 জন যে টেক্সটাইল ইঞ্জিনিয়ার এগুলো সব ব্যাখ্যা দিবেন আপনাদের। দেন you will say that we can earn profit, maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. After 4 years we will earn profit, and after 4 years we can give you 20% dividend. এই যে ব্যাংকে যদি টাকা রাখেন তাহলে কি কি পাওয়া যায়? ইন্টারেস্ট পাওয়া যায়, তাই না? আর বিজনেসে যদি ইনভেস্ট করেন সেই ইনভেস্টমেন্ট থেকে রিটার্ন পাওয়া যায়, সেটাকে বলা হয় ডিভিডেন্ড। কি বলে? ডিভিডেন্ড। এর আগে আমরা যেমন প্রফিটের কথা বলেছি, যে প্রফিট বিজনেসের প্রফিটের যতটুকু মালিকদের দেয়া হয় সেটাকে বলা হয় ডিভিডেন্ড। ডিভিডেন্ড, dividend. Dividend means share of profit that is given to the owners. আপনি প্রসপেক্টাসের মধ্যে লিখবেন যে আফটার 5 years we can give you 20% dividend। তার মানে কি, ব্যাংকে রাখলে আপনি পাচ্ছেন 5%, you will get 20% dividend. So you will write there in the prospectus. কিন্তু কথা হচ্ছে যে আপনারা টেক্সটাইল ইঞ্জিনিয়ার বা আপনারা যারা প্রমোটার্স, আর দে ট্রাস্টেড টু দি জেনারেল পিপল? জেনারেল পিপলকে আপনাদেরকে চিনে না। কাজেই আপনাদের যতই প্রসপেক্টাস তৈরি করেন, দে উইল নট বি কনভিন্সড টু গিভ মানি টু ইয়োর ব্যাংক অ্যাকাউন্ট। দ্যাটস ওয়াই ইউ হ্যাভ টু take separate permission from the Securities and Exchange Commission. পাবলিক লিমিটেড কোম্পানির আরেকটা বৈশিষ্ট্য হলো যে আপনি প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড কোম্পানির ক্ষেত্রে যে ওনারশিপ, শেয়ার হোল্ডার থাকে, তারা কিন্তু ইচ্ছা করলেই আপনার মালিকানা ট্রান্সফার করে দিতে পারে না। মালিকানা ট্রান্সফার করতে হলে অনেক স্টেপস আছে, সেটা আরেকদিন কথা বলবো। কিন্তু পাবলিক লিমিটেড কোম্পানির শেয়ার আপনি যে কোনো সময় সেল করে দিতে পারেন। পাবলিক লিমিটেড কোম্পানি, পাবলিকরা যেহেতু মালিক, যে কারো টাকা দরকার হতে পারে, সে যখনই মনে চাইবে তখনই সেল করে দিতে পারবে থ্রু স্টক এক্সচেঞ্জেস। স্টক এক্সচেঞ্জের থ্রুতে তারা সেল করে দিতে পারবে। as they can sell their shares through stock exchanges, এই কারণে that's why the public limited company initially must take the permission from the stock exchanges, or the authority is known as Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission. So you can prepare a prospectus and you have to take the permission from the Securities and Exchange Commission. আর যেহেতু আপনারা টেক্সটাইল ইঞ্জিনিয়ার অথবা অন্য কোনো ইঞ্জিনিয়ার হতে পারে, we are just giving you the example, maybe you do not have sufficient knowledge or people are not trusted, they don't trust you, এই কারণে আপনাকে এই প্রসপেক্টাসটা সেল করতে হবে ট্রাস্টেড পার্টির মাধ্যমে। বাংলাদেশে মানুষ ব্যাংকে বিশ্বাস করে না, ব্যাংক নাকি? Banks are trusted parties in Bangladesh, so you cannot sell the company's share directly, rather you will go to a bank, the bank will help you to sell the shares, এবং যে ব্যাংক এই আপনার প্রসপেক্টাস তৈরিতে হেল্প করবে, শেয়ার সেল করতে হেল্প করবে, the banking operations is known as investment banking. The banking operations who helps to sell and prepare prospectus is known as investment bank. বাংলাদেশে আমরা যখন শেয়ার ব্যবসা আমিও করি, শেয়ার ব্যবসা আমরা যখন শুরু করেছি, শেয়ার ব্যবসা বলতে এই যে আপনার এই যে পাবলিক লিমিটেড কোম্পানি শেয়ার কেনা বা বিক্রি করাকে শেয়ার বিজনেস বলে, তখন বাংলাদেশে একমাত্র সিটি ব্যাংক এনে ইনভেস্টমেন্ট ব্যাংকিং সার্ভিস দিত, আর কারোই ওই লেভেলের ট্রাস্ট ছিল না। সিটি ব্যাংক এনে, আমেরিকান ব্যাংক, এইচএসবিসি ব্রিটিশ ব্যাংক। এখন বাংলাদেশে আপনার 20 years later এখন আমাদের ইস্টার্ন ব্যাংক, বা এই ধরনের কিছু ব্যাংক আছে যারা ইনভেস্টমেন্ট ব্যাংকিং উইং আছে তাদের, they can help to sell the shares of your company. আপনার কোম্পানির শেয়ার সেল করতে তারা হেল্প করবে, আর getting the point. So you have got the certificate from the Ministry of Commerce, but you cannot start the business because you do not have sufficient fund. You will take the permission from the Securities and Exchange Commission. Your bank, your investment bank will prepare prospectus and you will inform to the general public, please buy these shares of our company through the investment bank, Eastern Bank, Citibank, HSBC. তাদের মাধ্যমে আপনি তাদেরকে বলবেন যে আমার কোম্পানির শেয়ার কিনেন। শেয়ার কিনলে কি হবে, ওই যে প্রসপেক্টাসের মধ্যে লিখে দিবেন যে 20% ডিভিডেন্ড পাবেন, 30% ডিভিডেন্ড পাবেন, 40% ডিভিডেন্ড পাবেন after 5 years, after 2 years, after 3 years, second year, etc. The calculation, the projections will say what you are gonna giving to them. So after preparing prospectus and giving the details to the general investors, investors will now apply for the shares. ইনভেস্টররা কি এবার আপনার ব্যাংকে অ্যাকাউন্টে টাকা জমা দিবে আর বলবে ঠিক আছে আমাকে 5,000 শেয়ার দেন, আমাকে 1,000 শেয়ার দেন, আমাকে 2,000 শেয়ার দেন, আমাকে 3,000 শেয়ার দেন। এই যে জনগণ যখন অ্যাপ্লাই শুরু করবে তারপর আপনি কি এই যে অ্যাপ্লিকেশনস ইনভাইট করা, দিস ইজ অলসো নোন অ্যাজ ইনিশিয়াল পাবলিক অফারিং অর IPO, initial public offering. The process through which the general people apply for the shares of your company. Shares মানে কোম্পানির মালিকানাকে শেয়ার বলে। So the process through which the general people will apply for the shares of your company is known as IPO, initial public offering. Initial public offering. So after the initial public offering, you will collect the sufficient amount of fund. The fund will be deposited there in the bank account of the company. কোম্পানির নামে ব্যাংক অ্যাকাউন্ট থাকবে, সেই ব্যাংক অ্যাকাউন্টে টাকা জমা হবে। টাকা জমা হওয়ার পরে এই যে আপনারা 7 জন মালিক ছিলেন, এখন কি মালিক হয়ে গেছে কিন্তু 70,000। সে ফর এন এক্সাম্পল, এটা কোথায় লেখা থাকতে পারবে যে কত লোকের কাছে শেয়ার বিক্রি করবেন? এটা আপনার মেমোরেন্ডাম অফ অ্যাসোসিয়েশন যে বানাবেন, আর্টিকেলস অফ অ্যাসোসিয়েশন যে বানাবেন, সেটার মধ্যে লেখা থাকতে হবে যে আপনি 70,000 লোকের কাছে শেয়ার বিক্রি করে টাকা অর্জন করবেন। এরপরে আফটার গেটিং দ্য মানি ইন ইউর ব্যাংক অ্যাকাউন্ট, ইন ইউর মিনস ইন ইউর কোম্পানিজ ব্যাংক অ্যাকাউন্ট, কারণ কি আপনার কোম্পানি আর আপনি তো আলাদা, কারণ কোম্পানির দায় আপনি নেবেন না কখনোই। কোম্পানির দায় কি আপনি নেবেন? সোল প্রপার্টিশিপ যদি করেন তাহলে নিতে হবে, পার্টনারশিপ হলে নিতে হবে। অন্য কোনো বিজনেসে আপনার কোম্পানির কোনো দায় কোনো ব্যক্তি মালিক নেবে না। কাজে এই কারণে সোল প্রপার্টিশিপ এবং পার্টনারশিপ করা ঠিক না, এই বিজনেস করতে হয় না। কারণ কি পার্সোনাল অ্যাসেট নিয়ে টার্ন করে, সব বাড়ি জমি সব বিক্রি করে তারপর লায়াবিলিটি সেটেল করতে হয়, মানে ফকির হয়ে যেতে হয় আর কি। এইসব ব্যবসা শুরু করলে যদি ফেল করে কেউ তাহলে ফকির হয়ে যেতে হয়। So after getting the sufficient money in your bank account, you will again apply to the Ministry of Commerce. সরকারের যার কাছ থেকে সার্টিফিকেট অফ ইনকর্পোরেশন নিছেন তাদেরকে বলবেন যে এখন আমাদের ব্যবসা শুরু করার অনুমতি দেন। তখন after they will check the bank accounts, and after checking the bank accounts, if they satisfy that yes sufficient money is collected to your bank account, then you can start the business. They will provide a certificate of commencement of business. গত ক্লাসে বলছিলাম, আইডিয়া দিয়েছিলাম, we are dealing the same issue because we are still defining what business is. What is business? আপনি যদি এগুলি না বুঝেন তাহলে কিন্তু what is business বোঝা আপনার জন্য কোয়াইট ডিফিকাল্ট হবে। একটা টেক্সটাইল কোম্পানিতে চাকরি করবেন, সেই টেক্সটাইল কোম্পানিটা যে কি বিজনেস সেটা আপনাকে তো আগে জানতে হবে। কোন ধরনের ব্যবসা করে, এটা কি সোল প্রপার্টিশিপ? ইভেন you can think whether you will start a job in a sole proprietorship or partnership business, or you will start a business in a company, a private limited company or public limited company. lot of things are related. কারণ sole proprietorship বিজনেসে চাকরি করলে যেটা হয়, মালিক যা বলে তাই। মালিক বলে যে তোমার কালকে চাকরি নেই, চাকরি নেই। পার্টনারশিপ বিজনেস, পার্টনাররা যা বলে তাই। পার্টনার তাও তো ডিফার হতে পারে দুই পার্টনারের, যে এক পার্টনার পছন্দ করে আর একজন করে না, একজনকে বের করে দিলে আরেকজন রাখতে চায়। সোল প্রপার্টিশিপে সেই অপশনসও নেই। So doing a job in partnership business is better than sole proprietorship. এবার আসেন corporate type of business. Private limited company. Private limited company, doing a job in private limited company is better than a partnership, because এখানে কি মালিক দুইজন থাকলেও মালিক সরাসরি কি জড়িত না, কারণ কি মালিক ইজ এ সেপারেট পার্টি। So private limited company itself has its own legal existence. লিগাল এক্সিস্টেন্স থাকাতে তারা কর্পোরেট পলিসি তৈরি করে, একজন লোকের চাকরি কখন যাবে, কি করলে চাকরি যাবে, কি করলে চাকরি থাকবে, কতদিন পরে রিটায়ারমেন্ট বেনিফিট যে পাবে। there are a lot of policies, corporate policies are there. কর্পোরেট, এখানে বলে কর্পোরেট পলিসি, কি বলে কর্পোরেট পলিসি। So in a private limited company, corporate policies are there, and the private limited company is run by board of directors, BOD, board of directors. পার্টনারশিপ এবং সোল প্রপার্টিশিপে কোনো বোর্ড নেই, there is no board of directors. এবার আসেন পাবলিক লিমিটেড কোম্পানি। ইন কেস অফ এ পাবলিক লিমিটেড কোম্পানি, আপনারা কিন্তু এখনো অনেকে ওই যে ভিডিও অফ করে অন্য কাজ করতেছেন, it's not acceptable in online classes. So in case of public limited company, how many owners there may be? 50,000, isn't it? কয়জন হতে পারে? 50,000 হতে পারে, 5 না কিন্তু 50,000. So if there are 50,000 owners in a business, how the business will be managed? এই বিজনেস কিভাবে ম্যানেজ হবে, পরিচালিত হবে? How the business will be managed, পরিচালিত হবে? The business, the 50,000 owners will form a board of directors of 7 people. Only 7 people will manage the business. Only 7 people will manage the business. So through election process, এই যে এখন সরকার গঠন হয় না, a public limited company owners are also elected. 7 people are elected by 50,000 people, 50,000 shareholders, 50,000 owners, and these 7 people are responsible for management of the business. And these 7 people is known as board of directors, board of directors. So doing a job in a public limited company is safer because owners are not involved. Only 7 owners are involved, and 7 owners cannot operate the business. There is a top manager. The top manager is known as managing director. Sometimes he is known as chief executive officer. Sometimes he is known as chief operating officer. So he is also manager. As all the owners are not involved in the operations of the business, doing a job in that type of business is better because owners cannot interfere your jobs. 50,000 লোকে কে আপনাকে বলবে যে আপনার চাকরি নেই? কোনো অবস্থায় বলতেই পারবে না, কারণ কি there is a board, there is a policy, যে আপনার চাকরি যাবে কি যাবে না সেটা পলিসির মধ্যে ডিফাইন করা থাকবে। কারণ কি 50,000 ওনার এসে বললেই তো হবে না, there will be a common policy, যেগুলি আপনার সোল প্রপার্টিশিপে নেই, পার্টনারশিপে নেই। প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড থাকলেও প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড কোম্পানির মালিক কি কম, 2 to 50 মধ্যে, they have more interference than public limited company. So even doing a business, you have to check whether the company is a public one or private one or OPC or sole proprietorship or partnership. To do a better job in a better company, you will choose the public limited company. And if the public limited company jobs are not available, you will choose private. If the private company jobs are not available, then you will choose partnership. And finally, if there is no other option, you can choose
Sole proprietorship.
proprietorship. Have you got the differences? So today we have tried to clarify what are the differences among the businesses. What is the difference between sole proprietorship and one-person company? What is the difference between partnership and private limited company? What is the difference between private limited company and public limited company? How to form a public limited company? Steps. যদি আমি steps এর কথা বলি, how to form a public limited company, steps কি হবে? Public limited company, you have to form a group of initiators, promoters, 7 engineers. You have to form a 7 initiators or promoters group. The group will prepare memorandum of association, articles of association. তারও আগে name selection করবেন, name clearance certificate. What would be the name of the business? কারণ কি আপনি যে বিজনেস এখন অপারেশনাল আছে সেই বিজনেস নাম দিতে পারবেন না। You have to take a separate name, unique name. এই কারণে আপনারা ওই যে ওয়েবসাইট roc.gov.bd যখন চেক করবেন, অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট লেখার সময় ওইটা সব চেক করে আসবেন। লেকচার, ভিডিও প্লাস roc.gov.bd এটা টোটালি চেক করবেন, তারপর অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট লেখা শুরু করবেন। আর অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট জমা দিবেন, যেহেতু আমরা আর থার্সডে আর ক্লাসে আসতেছি না, অথবা থার্সডে ক্লাস কি থার্সডে না আপনাদের সাথে নেক্সট ওয়ান?
ইয়েস স্যার।
তাহলে আমরা এই মানডেতেই কন্টিনিউ করব 2 ক্লাস একসাথে, ওকে?
তাহলে এই থার্সডে অফ থাকবে?
এই থার্সডে অফ থাকুক, কারণ আমরা যে অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট করতে সময় লাগবে। কাজে বাই নেক্সট মানডে ইউ উইল সাবমিট দ্য অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট। ওই অ্যাসাইনমেন্টের লিংক দিয়ে দিব আপনাদের গুগল ক্লাসরুম, ওই লিংকের মধ্যে সাবমিট করবেন, ঠিক আছে? হার্ড কপি দিতে হবে না, সফট কপি ওখানে পিডিএফ করে সাবমিট করবেন।
স্যার লেন্থ কেমন হবে, কয় পেজ?
10 পেজের মধ্যে লিখবেন, 10 পেজ লিখবেন। আজকের যে এক লেকচার, এই লেকচারে 10 পেজ লেখা যাবে, ঠিক আছে? এই 10 পেজ লিখবেন। শুধু আমার লেকচার না, আপনি তো আরো ওখানে খুঁজবেন ওয়েবসাইটে roc.gov.bd তে, এখানে সব অনেক অনেক ইনফরমেশন পাবেন। ওখানে লেখা আছে যে নেম ক্লিয়ারেন্স, ওখানে 3টা নাম দিতে হয়, যে প্রথমটা যদি না হয় সেকেন্ডটাও যদি না হয় থার্ড ওয়ান উইল বি অ্যাকসেপ্টেবল। 3টা নাম পাবেন। তাহলে কি আপনার গ্রুপ অফ অন্টারপ্রেনিয়ার্স কে আমরা বলি প্রমোটার্স অথবা ইনিশিয়েটর্স। অন্টারপ্রেনিয়ার্স বলে ENTREPRENEURS, অন্টারপ্রেনিয়ার্স বলে, প্রমোটার্স বলে, আবার ইনিশিয়েটর্স বলে। এই গ্রুপ অফ people will start the business, search the name, prepare memorandum of associations, articles of associations, get the certificate of registrations. After getting the certificate of registrations, collect the fund through preparing prospectus and getting approval from the Securities and Exchange Commission. And after preparing the prospectus, they will apply for general public to buy the shares of your company, which is known as IPO or initial public offering. And after that, after sufficient amount of fund received there in the bank account, you will go again to the Ministry of Commerce, and the Ministry of Commerce satisfying all the conditions of your business, and upon satisfaction or receiving the fund, sufficient amount of fund, they will give one more certificate, that is known as certificate of commencement of business. Then you can start a public limited company, public limited business.
স্যার একটা কোশ্চেন ছিল,
এবার আপনাদের প্রশ্ন বলা শুরু করেন। রেকর্ড বন্ধ করে দেই, স্টপ রেকর্ডিং, পজ।